On tonight's episode of Speaking It Real, Frank and Carlos and a few special guests will be discussing Cuba's hunger and political crisis, Miami's support for Cuba, and the hashtag SOSCuba protests across the country. All that and much more starting right now.
Coming to you live from Clearwater, Florida, it's Speaking It Real. Here's your hosts, Frank Cuesta and Carlos Contreras.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's good to be back. We have made it through another week of, well, I'm on break, so honestly, I haven't suffered. I'm assuming most of you have, and that's fine. Better you than me. I'm kidding. Welcome to another awesome edition of Speaking It Real. We are on show, 40. I lost track. I gave up counting. Frank, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. We are actually on show 32.
This is why Frank is the brains of the show, folks. It is what it is. He is the mastermind. He pulls the strings. I'm just the sidekick, right? And
that is for damn fucking sure.
But hey, it's all good. It works. Works. It works. Hey, Sketchy, how's it going?
Oh gosh, look who it is.
Yeah. So Sketchy, I believe you were supposed to be on one of our shows, and you were MIA. What happened, buddy? I was looking forward to finally talking with you. Anyhow, it's good to see that you're here today. Frank looks like he's actually working as we're doing this show. That's just how Frank rolls. But unless you've been hiding under a rock, the news has been pretty consistent over the last week with protests in Cuba. The information that's come from there, at least the way it started, to me was kind of BS-ish. All right. Hope so. So Frank, I'm just going to kind of like give you the way this was kind of brought about, or the way I found out. As you know, I've been doing what I've been doing with real estate, been busy just looking at houses and working with clients. And so I take a break, whatever, and I get on Facebook and I see nothing but Cuban flags. I'm like, what is all this about? And I see all this SOS stuff. And then I'm finally digging in, and it's like, they're protesting again. Okay. And I see that it's pretty massive. Like normally when things happen in Cuba, they're small enough where I don't have like every friend changing their profile and slapping Cuban colors everywhere. So this looks like it grew, and it's grown more and more. And of course, what we were first told was they're protesting because of a lack of COVID vaccines and some medicine. And I'm like, like, of all the things you can protest in Cuba, that's what you're protesting about? I doubt it. And sure enough, as the truth has come out and you've seen clips and some of the chants, here we are again. The public has had it with the dictatorship. They've had it with their their greed and their constant thievery and complete bankrupting of the country, to the point where it's affecting food, medicine, and everything else, and they've taken to the streets. And so, but the thing once again is, like every other nation that falls into this communist trap, you're dealing with a citizenry that has been reduced to basically slingshots, rocks, whatever projectile they can throw, because they don't have guns, and it's them against the military. And these uprisings and protests, they become hard. It's hard to change once you disarm the public, as we see here in Cuba and in other nations in this predicament. So I don't know if anything's going to change from this as much as I'd like, Frank. But I mean, that's just my 2 cents on glossing over what I know so far, or what I've seen so far as an intro. What are your thoughts? What have you heard? Give me your perspective on this, Frank.
All right. Funny enough, right before the show, I was talking to my neighbors. My neighbors are born in Cuba, raised in Cuba, and they got here maybe not that long ago. All right.
Not that long ago. Okay.
All right. And when I say by not that long ago, I mean within probably the past 10 years. All right.
I love Laura. Laura just like shows up to the party, kicks the door down, douses the floor with gasoline, lights it up, and tells everybody, "I'm
All right. Hold on. Watch this. Hold on. You're talking about 62 years of dictatorship. Number one.
All right.
All right. You have the Cuban people that have been living in slums.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, and I'm sure you heard too, just to give people a quick idea of what visiting Cuba is like, and I've never been there. This is what I've heard, and I've heard it consistently. It's a straight up time warp. It's like you go there, and it is still 1959. Cars have not been renewed. Buildings look, everything looks like, unless you're in the touristy areas. Once you get into some of the main areas, time stopped is essentially what they say it looks like over there. Go on, Frank.
All right. So you have the Cuban people. They're having a hard time finding food, finding medicine. Okay. You protest against the government. They want to kill you. They want to, the government out there. And going to Laura's comment right quick, because where is the democratic support for Cuba? Laura, who's it giving the support? Who do you want to give them the support? Let me tell you
what kind of support are we talking about? See, I guess I kind of understand what she's saying.
I don't.
And they're notorious for it. I mean, when they say democratic support, I think she's talking more about the people, and she's talking about an anti-government stance, in which Democrats tend to be kind of quiet about it. They are.
Laura, elaborate. Who's everyone? What, are you talking about the people that are in Cuba? Or are you talking about the United States government and every other government there is? That's my question to you. All right, you have these people that, again, I remember going, the elected officials. The U.S. elected officials.
I think what she's saying, what she's actually saying is the condemnation of it is what she's saying. And they have been relatively quiet.
Okay, but you know what? Look. This is not a Democratic problem. This is not a Republican problem.
Right.
Okay? It's not. Because if we're going to talk that, then that's going to be a totally different issue. The problem here is it's a Cuba problem. Okay? It's a Cuban dictatorship problem. All right? Whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me. It's a Cuban dictatorship problem. There is no way that America or any other country could get involved. Other countries could get involved. That's when then America could step in. But we cannot be the first people to come in. We cannot be them. Okay? That's for starters.
Right.
Okay? The electorate, as a matter of fact, Biden said he would. Why is Rubio speaking up and AOC supporting Cuba? Well, Rubio is speaking up because Rubio, his bloodlines are like mine and Carlos's. They're Cuban bloodlines. When you hear the stories that come from our parents of Cuba and how and how beautiful that country was, to what it is now, and mind you, I went to Cuba in the mid-90s maybe.
Oh, so you've been there? Okay, I haven't even been there, dude. Okay,
I've been there. I could tell you that I went with a week's worth of clothes, and I came back with 1 day's worth of clothes. The clothes I was wearing.
What happened to your clothes?
I left it.
Oh, you left it for the family?
I left it for them because
Gotcha.
What? I saw, my family members that were wearing my clothes when I was a kid. So you're like, wait a minute, that was mine.
Yeah.
My mom sent it out there because you know what? It just goes to show you that they have nothing.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
the power went out. The power went out at least once a day,
Oh,
which
it's
I
gotten
got
worse now. I think that's part of
right.
the protest right there. Yeah.
Look, part of the protest is that
18
there's
hour. I heard it was rolling blackouts every day, up to 18 hours a day. That's
right.
nuts.
Look, they're having a hard time. What we're looking at the protest is a lot of they're having a hard time finding food and medicine.
Hmm.
All right, that right there alone, okay, says a lot. That means that the government in Cuba, this wonderful fucking dictatorship in Cuba, okay, controls everything. When you stand up against a government, guess what? You disappear.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay?
as I said at
As
the
of
beginning, remember, they don't have weapons. They don't have,
from
they can't defend themselves.
from
They
what
can't.
I've right, I blame everything on Castro. He fucked everything up. Danny, you're absolutely right.
Actually, Danny, it started before Castro. I got a
It
history lesson
did.
on that.
No, it did. It did start.
It did.
It
It did.
it did.
Batista was president and he was elected. This was prior to 59. The problem was is that his term expired. He was done, but he didn't want to leave. So he became a dictator. Is essentially when the problems began. And that gave Fidel and his bunch the power to start speaking against, and he started garnering support. He got into power, and then that's when the lies started coming out, and then the Russians came in with the money. That's the basic short of it. The basic short of it, how it all just fell apart because one guy said, "I'm not leaving,"
Right.
and so no, Frank, I hear you though. I mean, I only have stories of the '60s and how they were monitored down to like the utensils. It was nuts what I was being told by my cousins, and so here we are. I mean, but Cubans have protested before. It's just again, it's them. It's them yelling and screaming against armed officials. They've got. This is what happens when you can't fight. When you can't defend yourself against your government. They've got no guns. They've got no guns. And I'm not trying to pitch a Second Amendment deal here, but again, they deliberately disarmed them for this very reason because you can't get rid of them. You can't get
Right.
rid of them. I mean, honestly, easier said than done from my little tiny soapbox here on the microphone. But you know, when you're ready to take on the government, people are going to have to die, and there's going to be plenty of blood spilled. But you know, you remember that movie? I don't know. I always tell people there's a clip in a movie, A Bug's Life. Do you remember A Bug's Life? Did you ever see it, or did you ever take your kid?
I remember seeing it. I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
It
it's
had
not the
something to
most
do with the
memorable movie on the
bug.
planet, but there's a scene in that movie.
It had to do with the ants, right?
Yeah, the ants and the grasshoppers.
Okay. All right.
Right. And that grasshopper started telling his other grasshoppers, hey, if they figure out that there's millions of them against us, we're screwed. Until Cuba gets that mentality and actually goes in and does what they need to do to change it, it won't change. It won't change. But they
Well,
you know,
look.
they're not armed. So it's a massive uphill battle to go changing the government. Now, I don't know if you were able to confirm. I heard some stories about districts or counties or states, I'm sorry. Like their police submitting and joining the citizenry. I don't know how much of that has really occurred. That'd be great if they
I
all did
did
it.
hear.
Wouldn't have-
I did hear. Well, you know what? If our guest would have showed up,
Well,
you
I mean,
know,
if he's from Cuba, I'd be honestly surprised if he showed up, knowing I don't
well,
know how
no,
they
of course.
interact.
I mean, I don't ever let them disarm you. Well, look, Laura, this is, I don't know how much you know about Cuba and what everything went on over there in what, 59? All right. A lot of the Cuban people were tricked by Fidel
Oh
Because
yeah.
he went in promising a bunch of things.
Promising free healthcare, socialized medicine, free education, the same garbage you hear
All
today.
right.
And then people wonder why Cubans get triggered. Duh.
But we're gonna listen to a couple words here from Marco Rubio. And I believe he said this on July 12th, which was Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. We're gonna listen to him a little bit, and then we're gonna elaborate on this a little bit and how this movement got started.
Says open to Cuba, 100% open. You can do whatever you want, full free trade. You can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, the Cuban regime will control that opening. It's not just what we want to do, it's what they want to do. You want to do tourism? We tried that in 2015 when the Obama changes. And you know what they did? They said, thank you. We love the fact you're coming here as tourism. Guess what? All the tourist sites are owned by a holding company named Gaesa, controlled by the Cuban military. So everything comes through our hands. You want to send them food? That's great. Guess who gets it? Alimport, which is a government, military-owned agriculture company. You can't sell it to a small grocery store in Cuba or even a food wholesaler.
All right, so he's talking food, right? So let me tell you, people in Cuba can't even grow their own food. All right. And Laura,
Sketchy
hold
posted
on.
something here, and I don't think many people seem to understand. We can flood them with dollars. We can flood them with everything. None of it's getting to the people. We've tried to ease the embargo with them numerous times. Their response to us is usually hostile. Jimmy Carter tried that. You know what he did? He sent us a boat lift full of criminals. I mean, they sent us a boat lift full of boats full of criminals. It's pointless. The government is as corrupt as it gets.
Not everybody was criminals.
Well, the majority of them were. I mean, they flooded out their mental health institutions and their prisons, and they put them all on boats. Now, I mean, there were probably others, Frank. You're right, but that was the gist of that boat lift. And our embargo is not the be all end all of the Cuban problem. I mean, they've got rights to trade with a bunch of other countries. China can flood them with money and items too. They haven't. Spain has done it. Many countries in Europe have traded. Canada has even traded with them.
Hey, hold on a second. Hold on. Do me a favor. Do not use BLM in reference to problems with Cubans, and we're gonna touch on that later because you know
I don't
what?
want to touch on that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
because
yeah,
you know what? I've backed up BLM.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And I back the movement.
They're under my shoe.
I'm not
They're
gonna
under my
back. I'm not gonna back the shit they spoke or the shit they posted, which is funny enough. You don't find it now. That shit's was taken down.
No. They're under my shoe.
We will talk about them. But anyhow, let's see what Catherine. I know someone who had to raise pigs under their house in Cuba, so the military wouldn't take them, so they could feed their families. Yes, listen. When I went to Cuba, I remember that we ate, and we ate good. I'm not sure if my mom's listening or not, but we ate good there. Danny, question for you. What are you referring to where you cannot compare those two at all? Are you talking about BLM and the dictatorship or something else? Laura, going back to your comment over here, okay, like they are promising here, I'm sorry, but a socialist system is not a communist system. Okay, so my mom's in. Yay, hi mom. So, yeah, mom, my guest didn't show up. I should have listened to you. Me dejaron plantado.
Yeah, Laura's right though, Frank. You may want to sit there and try to divide the two between socialism and communism, but once you get to one, that's how the other one starts.
Yeah, but you know what? That's never gonna happen here.
I'm sure they
I
said
don't
that in
care.
Venezuela too. I'm sure they said that in Venezuela. I'm sure
I
they
can't
said
talk.
that.
I can't talk. I cannot sit here and talk about Venezuela. I can't
You
because at
can't,
the end,
but they said the same thing.
I can't talk about Venezuela because you know what? I'm not Venezuelan. I don't know the history. I never cared too much to pay attention to them.
I actually
Black
read the
Lives
timeline.
Matter
It's actually
and what's
pretty,
going on
it's
in
not
Cuba.
that hard.
Gotcha.
The bottom line in Venezuela was they had a government structure like ours, an ineffective Congress that was constantly failing the people, and a guy showed up making promises.
Wait, okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Wait. But you know what? Let me ask you something. Don't all politicians make promises?
No, okay,
They all
but
make
I'm just telling you
promises.
that's how it started.
Okay,
That's
but
how it started.
I'm sorry, but all politicians make promises. I don't
but
give
a lot
a
of them at
damn.
least try to
And you
make
know what?
do.
You have to turn. This is the thing. You got to turn the whole government. You got to turn everybody. And you know what? That's never going to happen here. But this is not about what happens here. This is about what, this show and our caption says it all. Speaking at Real Cuba edition. It's what's going on in Cuba, even though I don't have the people that were going to go on, didn't come on. They went, poof, like my brother
Well,
did a couple
that's
weeks
how
ago.
people. That's what happens to people in Cuba. Hate to say it.
All right. But you know what? Look, again, what's going on in there is a complete unjust. The people in
60 years
Cuba
plus.
need to keep going. All right. But anyhow, going back to Marco Rubio here, let's see what to say here.
You don't have to even agree with anything I've said. What you should agree with is that people everywhere in the world, including 90 miles from our shore, should be able to go to the street, peacefully march, call for an end to dictatorship, and not have their head cracked open. By the way, no one in Cuba has guns except the military, so why are these repressive forces walking around with these rifles
Going
and
back to
people
what
getting
we're saying
shot?
about the arms.
They're shooting people that literally are unarmed. Should be able to do that, and it should be clear. We should be clear in our language. We don't just condemn this tyranny, we condemn this communist, this Marxist, this socialist tyranny. Call it for what it is.
So that's exactly what it is. It's communist. And now, obviously, here he's asking President Biden, or he's asking the U.S. to step in. Okay. Now we're gonna go into, should we step in? We can't step in.
No, I mean, that's a conundrum. I mean, if you start stepping in, then other countries start looking at you and like, oh, they're just taking other countries over. It becomes a real political mess.
I think if we were to step into Cuba, as much as I would love to, because you know what?
Oh, I'd love to go in there stormtrooper style and be like, we're done here. And just obliterate them. But yeah, that's
all right. But look, realistically speaking, we can't go in. All right, we can't go in. I mean, there's no way, no how, And I've seen people that. I mean, I've been reading posts that, hey, on Monday we're going to Cuba on boats.
We're going to Cuba on boats. So you have people who are thinking about going in there to infiltrate.
Now, I'm going to tell you how this movement started, and we're going to listen to Marco Rubio right quick, and I think this is where he says it.
All right.
Oh, I got to hit play, don't I?
I mean,
none of this was started by politicians. It wasn't started by me. Wasn't started by anybody in Miami or in Florida. Wasn't started by any think tank in Washington. Wasn't even started by political activists inside of Cuba. You know who started what's happening in Cuba? Artists, poets, songwriters, writers, actors, musicians. They're the ones who started it. The San Isidro movement. Because they came after them. And there's a song, a lot of people don't realize that there was a song that came out earlier this year. A song that, by the way, if you play in Cuba, you will go to jail. The song's name is Patria y Vida. Now, the slogan of the Cuban regime is Patria o Muerte, meaning fatherland or death. This song played on that. It says Patria y Vida, which means fatherland and life instead of fatherland or death. And the song is extraordinarily powerful because it was written by people and sang by people who have lived this reality and are living this reality. So powerful that, as I said, you'll go to jail in Cuba if you play it.
Artists are what have made this movement. Now, what happens?
You can't express yourself in Cuba like that.
No, you cannot.
No.
You cannot. Look, you know, from what I know, from what I've read, from what I've seen, the people that are making the moves in Cuba are the young people.
Right.
All right. You have the older generation.
They're trained.
I mean, older generation.
They're stuck. They're stuck in that system.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You have the older generation that already tried. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about from my grandparents up to my parents. They already tried. They got nowhere. Okay? So, Sketchy, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So then you have our generation, okay, which have grown up in it. Okay, our generation, what they have learned to do is steal from the government. Because you know what? They make, I believe it's about $18 a month.
Oh yeah,
If
it's
I'm not
something terrible.
Okay, now, hold on. This is the crazy thing. They get paid in Cuban money, which I think they're called rupees. Okay.
Okay.
Mom, if you're listening, correct me. They're called rupees or whatever the Cuban dollar is right now. Okay.
Isn't that the Russian currency? I think that's still the Russian currency.
I have no idea.
Rubles is the Russian currency.
Okay.
All right.
But now everything that you buy in Cuba is in euros.
Oh, it's even worse. I thought it was dollars. If it's euros, that's even more expensive, I think.
Nowadays, it's in euros. So go figure. Go figure all the bullshit that they go through. So you know what? What these people are doing, causing this uprising. Hey, you know what? Go for it. I want to see a free Cuba. Not for me. Because my life, my family is in Miami. But you know what? My grandparents wanted to see a free Cuba. They didn't see it.
My mom. Yeah.
Okay.
My aunt. I'm sure they'd all like to
mother-
see it. My
My
about
mom
the
would
beach.
love to see a free Cuba. Look, the beaches in Cuba are phenomenal. Out of my trips in Cuba, okay, I remember going to the beach, the Varadero beach, and it
You
was
went?
great.
Oh,
I went.
wow. My mom,
Hey,
my
look.
mom won't shut up about that beach.
I was about neck deep. You look down, and dude, you could see your toes in the water.
That's nice. My mom would show me pictures. There's like 3 shades of blue. It's pretty crazy.
Let's see, sketchy here. Sketchy. Okay. Cuba need. Damn it. Sorry, Jacob. Jacob's producing the show backstage, and I'm jumping on his production. All right. There
The
you go.
government doesn't. All right, yeah, so they don't use dollars anymore, and euros I think are more expensive than dollars. So
Right. So watch, sketchy. Cuba needs to take notes from the Arab Spring countries, Tunisia, Morocco.
well, it's funny that he says Arab Spring, because I mean, my thing is, and this is a theory, and I'm kind of bouncing this off of what Sketchy's saying, is that if Cuba was to fall like that, or if the people were to rise up and actually succeed, you still have a lot of people who live there who are loyal to this government. I fear the next thing would be a massive civil war. It would be, and that's exactly what went on in, I think it was Syria, right? Syria, and it would be it wouldn't be resolved right away. That would be you have a lot of, believe it or not, Frank. Misery does love company, and you do have a lot of Cubans in Cuba who are dependent on that system of government, as crappy as it is. They live by it. They stick by it, and they're good with it. And if you try to take that away from them, the ones who are dependent, there's going to be I think, again, this is all just hypothetical, but I would assume there'd be a massive civil war if they if they managed to bring. And you know what? It probably has to happen. Cuba's going to have to go through that kind of transition. I think it'd be great if it was peaceful. But I do believe a good chunk of the population there does depend and like that government, because that's what they've been living on for so many years. It's all they know. So maybe your mom can clarify that for me as well. But I mean, I've heard this.
All right. So to answer Jorge Luis, SOS, what does that stand for? You want to answer that, Carlos, or should I? I got it. So SOS is a Morse code distress signal. It's used internationally. It was established for maritime use. So, there you go. It's,
it's basically like an emergency, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it's an emergency. And Sketchy, you're right. But like I just said, not all the Cubans are sick and tired. I believe there's a large portion of that population that actually likes they're dependent on that government. But I agree, there's going to probably have to be bloodshed. It's not going to be pretty. I rarely do you see a peaceful transition. I don't think.
Hey, real quick, if you guys don't mind, please share this with your friends on your page. Send it to your brother, to your sister,
your frenemies. That's his best word.
Send it to your frenemies. Exactly. All right. Look, send it to whoever needs to hear this. We speak about all social issues. We don't have to agree. I mean, Laura's prime example that I don't agree with what she was saying, but you know what? We're going to speak about it. We put her on there, and you know what? It's all good. So we continue going with what we have. So Sketchy, thank you. SOS stands for Someone Out There Save Me. Absolutely right. So hey, you know what? Jorge Luis, thank you for sharing. We air Wednesdays and Friday nights. But either way, continue about Cuba here. Here's another video. All right, this one is pretty chaotic. Here you're actually seeing plainclothes police officers arriving by the busloads with bats and sticks to hand fight the population in Cuba. All right.
Really?
Yes.
Busloads are being taken somewhere to. I haven't seen this.
So they have the cops dressed in plain clothes. All right. They're going ham. This just comes down to how the people are in Cuba.
Yeah.
Hey, Jorge Luis, let me ask you a question. Are you Cuban? Were you born in Cuba? Do you know anything about Cuba? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
But you know what?
He agrees that if there's any kind of resolution, there's going to be bloodshed. It's going to be brutal. You got to clean out that mentality, that communist mentality that a good portion of the population there depend on and like. And Cuba has a massive, massive hill to climb when it comes to getting rid of, their dictatorship and that communist government. Plus, again, the lack of weaponry amongst the citizens. Oof, yeah, it's going to be brutal. Carlos, the problem is that the new generation grew up listening for years the same history, and even if they don't like the government, they are very confused about everything. Good Lord, that sounds familiar again. But
no.
Yes.
No, my friend, listen.
Cuban edition. I'm just throwing it.
Again, dude. Again. This is very different.
Oh man, I love getting in Franksy. But now, Celia, let me ask you a question. What exactly are they confused about? I can understand the part where you say they grew up listening to the same years, the same history. But you say they don't like the government, but they're very confused. Can you elaborate on that? What are they confused about? I mean, I only ask because I imagine in Cuba, you only hear the same message. So the logic is they really shouldn't be confused. It should be exactly what they believe. So where does the confusion come in? Can you help me with that?
I'm gonna answer part of that, and she could probably answer more of it. But this is what it is. All right, when you're fed the same crap,
right?
Okay, on a daily basis, from whatever part of the government you're part of, you're fed it, right? Mm-hmm. You go home, and you have your parents, which are also in your ear, telling you stuff as to, hey, no, that's not true. But the thing is that you're going to school for it, and that's what you're learning in school. So I'm gonna figure that's what it is. A lot of I could tell you that I don't know, but I think that's what it is. I didn't live in there. I didn't go to school. I agree with you. The younger generation realize how Cuba can be better than it is, and are not willing to sit on the sidelines. The older generations are saying,
well, it's funny you say that, Celia. I see that. Of course, they're going to blame the embargo. You got to blame something on the U.S. But you still have people protesting in the streets, and people that are protesting in the streets carrying the American flag. I find it funny, and I saw somebody put together some images about other areas that are protesting, like Hong Kong, Taiwan, I think, and I forgot what were the other areas, but all of them, when they're protesting, carrying American flags. That's pretty awesome. I mean, it's great to know that our flag has that kind of weight, carries that kind of weight when it comes to them demanding freedom. That they carry our flag as a staple. And I won't get into the irritation I have regarding some of the crap I hear from American citizens regarding that. But
okay, so look, you have the European Union, which back up the Cuban protest. You have, let's see, whoever Guevara Rosas is, I don't know who they are.
Illegal immigrants from Central America and other countries cross the border. But
Mexico, Mexican president.
John, you know the answer to that. That's pretty simple. It's the reason, probably one of the reasons why Wet Foot, Dry Foot was stopped.
Well, my God, John Barrows, what are you doing on my show? I wanted you to come on Wednesday. You finally joined us. Thank you. No, you know what? John, I'm talking Cuba right now. And you know what? I'm going to go into, by the end of the show, our topic from Wednesday, because I have a heated discussion with you, my friend. Look, John and I, look.
Oh, he's driving, so I guess he'll have to listen.
That's fine. Just listen. But just a quick background on John and I. John and I are Army buddies. We don't agree on shit.
Oh, so he's my friend. Nice, John.
Yeah. Hey, John, you're like that people on my show. Look at that. No, but look, listen. So, the Cubans are being backed up by, a lot of these other countries also, which,
The whole world should be supporting Cuba. I agree, but other countries, they don't care. A lot of them don't care. They'll put out their Twitter blurb. We support. Hell, Biden couldn't even like full-heartedly support him. It was a lame ass like, yeah, we support their right to blah blah blah. Just garbage. But once you start getting into that topic of intervention, even I have to be like, they got to handle that. They gotta handle that. We can't resolve everybody's problems.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, the president of Cuba, all right, which I'm not going to really say his name because I think he's a piece of shit, all right? He said on Friday the United States, not Cuba, was a failed state. Okay, he was reacting to comments that Joe Biden, our president, said on Thursday that Cuba was a failed state. And you know what? Biden's correct on that.
He's correct that Cuba's a failed state.
Yes.
That's like telling me apples are red. But what what are you trying to get at?
Okay. It's what the president is feeding his people. What he's feeding there. We are Canadian. We try to go to Cuba 3-4 times a year. We love our family in Cuba. We started with a family of 4, and now we have a family of 30. Abuelos, my father, and we love them with all our hearts. We don't know what else we can do and are scared for them. I can feel your pain. I can't say that I go there all the time because I refuse to put money in that government's pocket.
That's the issue. I mean, a lot of people talk about lifting the embargo. And again, we need to make it clear. The embargo is not the sole source of Cuba's problems by far. Sure, it affects them, but there are plenty of other countries that could support them. I mean, let's hypothetically, like you think, for example, the Chinese who have their mitts into everything. Like I would be all over Cuba if I was China, but for some reason they're not really there either. There's no profit when dealing with Cuba. I read this. I kind of studied it a little bit before the show. Other countries have traded with Cuba. Cuba's not completely isolated from the world. And yet, I guess the way the government handles trade with them, they're just not an attractive trade partner. So that probably has to do with the way government handles the revenue. And it's the people that suffer. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's awful. And 62 years and it's right under our nose. That's the pain of it, Frank, I guess, is like, we're just 100, 200 miles from it. You are like 100 miles from it. It's ridiculous how you can like literally like enter the twilight zone just by
Javier. Javier, yes, I would actually love to hear from you. And see what your thoughts on Cuba are and how Cuba is.
Thank you, Javier. There it is right there. The embargo is a scam. The embargo is not the sole reason for their problems. Cuba, or the Cuban government, has done its number on the people. This is on them, and they're going to keep that gravy train going as long as they can. You have an unarmed populace.
But again, no one said the embargo is not the problem here.
No, I know, but that's what he keeps telling them, and that's what some of our idiots in this country keep parroting. We have we have idiots in Congress who have repeated these stupid words. We're not even touching BLM. You were going to go there. I'm still kind of waiting for you to pop that one. We have fools in this country who seriously believe that the embargo is the sole reason for Cuba's misery. It's crap.
Carlos's connection is pretty shitty right now. But look,
what?
All right,
mine?
Yeah. I feel you.
Oh, shut up.
But anyways, look. All right. So the embargo is not the issue. The embargo here is the Cuban government.
Yeah, absolutely.
That it's the Cuban government. Biden said it perfect. It's a failed state.
Look, it ain't just me. Read Jorge Luis. You think I'm making this crap up? That's what they're saying. That's what these clowns.
But the Democrats didn't say the embargo.
Yes, they did.
Biden did not say the embargo is a problem to this.
Hold on. Biden is not the Democrats. There are Democrats who have gone on record to blame the embargo, but it's
Okay,
there.
but then that's where the Democrats are incorrect. And I
Thank
will
you,
tell
Stephen. I
anybody
think it was just Frank's ears not dealing with the noise. That's fine.
that no, you know what? That it might be my connection. No, man.
Oh,
But I
okay.
will tell you that to me the problem is hold on. Of course, but that's why they have been told for 62 years. Remember how they have internet till now. They have been living in a capsule. Right. They just got internet maybe what 2-3 years ago, 5 at tops. All right, and mind you, their internet was cut off.
Obligatory mandated army that you have to attend when you are 50. I mean, dude, just the examples. Thank you, Javier. But I think that the real problem here is what is the U.S. expected to do? We can't.
And pour buckets of cold
As
water.
much as I never disagree with Sketchy, I kind of agree with him on this, where we cannot be the world's police. We can't. I mean, I think at some point the Cuban people, they're gonna have to just take it to them, like sticks, fire, whatever. It's gonna have to be bloody. They're going to have to go directly at the institutions where the weapons are. It's going to have to be a civil war. I can't see another way out of it. I don't see the government.
Hold on.
I don't see the government just walking away. They're not.
Yeah, but Stephen, mandatory army should not be. I mean, it is in many countries mandatory, but you know what? That's not the way it should be.
To each his own, Frank. Every country has a different method. I mean, like for example, Israel. Is a democracy just like us. They have it. They have mandatory. Colombia, I think, has it too, from what I was told. It's not a bad thing. It's just about how a country wants to approach it. Now, we have a volunteer system here, and it seems to be working for us. So to each his own on that. You don't have to agree with it. Now, honestly, I don't even know how to feel about that because I see the benefits of both. I see the benefits of a populace who just want to join to serve. But I also do understand the notion of mandatory and actually teaching your citizenry to like be much more patriotic towards your nation, and you learn that in their military. So goes both ways. Well, Celia, that's the main issue right there, and this is why the gun debate in this country is so heated because of what you just put right there. They don't have weapons. All they have are sticks, stones. So for them to actually fight the government, the first thing they're going to have to do is face a hail of bullets. And so, when the Cubans are ready to actually like start dying and bleeding for this, that's when the change will begin, and it's going to be ugly. It's just not going to be pretty. I fear the death toll that would occur if the Cuban populace finally went after the government, but nothing's going to change until that does.
All right, so let's answer. Okay, what's the draft? Yeah, okay, Steve. The draft is when there's not enough servicemen. I get that. Okay. But
yeah, that's different. That's different. If we're like engaged in a long, massive war and we're running out of our own volunteer soldiers, the draft is implied or is applied. That's different. The thing is that they will go and drag you out to the military. Here is the other thing. The army is BS. You really go and work on the cornfields and do labor. They teach you nothing. Javier's got a lot of insight that I'm not even aware of. This is great. I'm glad he showed up.
Hey, Javier, would you be willing to come on the show right now and talk with us? Because you have a lot of insight.
And I'll protect you from Frank. Don't worry about it.
No, because you know what? I really like, him coming in like this.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, you and I have limited knowledge on Cuba because we were born here, and you've been there how many times? Once. I've never been there, and all I have are the stories from my family. So, I was doing my research for the show, but that's kind of what I got. And yeah, it'd be great if Javier could come on, or we could talk about Elian.
No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Javier, if you want, shoot me an email. You can see it there. and I will send you the link really quick. I'm already in my email just waiting for you. So, if you
He's
wanna
going to
come
get on his
on, Bray.
laptop. Cool. We'll try to get him on. He's going to be on his laptop.
Oh, for sure.
All right, great.
For sure.
Looks like we're going to have a guest. Hey, we didn't do a profit break. Where's the whiff of greatness?
No, oh my God, we're gonna do a whiff of greatness. Go for it.
Well, let's do it while you try to get Javier on.
Yeah, Javier, send us your email. Just email us, speakingitrealpodcast@gmail.com. It's right
And
there on the
Laura,
right.
if you're still out there, keep instigating. I love it.
I love wiffle ball. No other way to explain it. Just something about the game, the feel of the grass, smacking that ball all over the field, making plays, diving head first, whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what wiffle ball means to me. Striking out grown men, watching their knees buckle on a called third strike. Sit out, bud. And then, of course, the home runs, the base hits, the big home runs at the big moments. That's a whiff of greatness. Join us all season long for the Joe Aguirre Story, a CMG podcast.
So you know what we're gonna do, right quick, as we wait
What are we gonna
for
do, Frank?
Javier, as we wait for Javier to send me the email. All right.
So while we wait for
We'll
that,
get
Frank,
Tom-
I think it's time you unloaded on BLM. I've kind of got my popcorn, my imaginary popcorn ready. I've been licking my chops because trust me, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I understand that with the professions that we have to be careful, and so I kept wondering, can I restrain myself from attacking them after the crap they said? And I'm gonna have to, because I know my honesty has gotten me in trouble numerous times in the past. And so I need to refrain. But I read what they posted. And somebody brought up an old post when Castro died and they put some crap about rest in power. Dude, I am,
All right,
I'm glad they did this though, because to me, this is a nice way to call to who these clowns really are. Go ahead, Frank. All yours.
So here we go. Black Lives Matters condemns the U.S. federal government's inhumane treatment of Cubans and urges it to immediately lift the economic embargo. This cruel and inhumane policy, instituted with the explicit intention of destabilizing the country and undermining Cubans' rights to choose their own government, is at the heart of Cubans' current crisis. Since 1962, the United States has forced pain and suffering on the people of Cuba by cutting off food, medicine, supplies, costing this tiny island nation an estimated $130 billion. Without that money, it is harder for Cuba to acquire medical equipment needed to develop its own COVID-19 vaccine and equipment for food production. This comes in spite of the country's strong medical care and history of lending doctors and nurses. Let's come over here. The people of Cuba are being punished by the U.S. government because the country has... Wait, no, sorry. No, right. Self-determination, United States leaders have tried to crush this revolution for decades. Instead of international humanity, respect, and goodwill, the U.S. government has only instigated suffering for the country's 11 million people, of which 4 million are black and brown. Cuba has...
Oh, that's why. That's
Cuba
why.
has historically demonstrated solidarity with oppressed people of African descent, from protecting black revolutionaries like Asta Shakur, through granting her asylum to support black liberation struggles in Angola, and so forth.
Ugh, good Lord. Frank, if words look like vomit, it's all on this page.
Now we look to President Biden to end the embargo, something Barack Obama called in 2016 2016. This embargo is a blatant human rights violation, and it must come to an end. Okay, let me start here.
Wait, Javier asked you for an email real quick. I just wanted you to see that. Or a link. I don't know if you're trying to send him a link or an email, but he's asking.
Have him email us. Okay.
Can we call BS? I mean, is it obvious? Do we need to, Stephen? All right, he says sent. We're trying to get one of our commentators here, Javier from the comment section on the show. He apparently has vast knowledge and experience with Cuba, and so his input would be greatly appreciated.
Javier, I can send you the link.
Frank and I are just angry first-generation Americans.
All right, so look. I'm all for, and this is what I want to make sure that everybody understands. I approve of the Black Lives Movement. Okay, I don't agree with them terrorizing the place. Okay, I don't agree with that. But their fucking comments are completely out of control. You cannot sit here and blame the United States, okay, or any administration, or Biden, or even Trump for that matter, okay?
Ooh, you're gonna have to wash your mouth. I felt that.
Okay? You cannot sit here and blame the U.S. for Cuba's struggles. Unfortunately, all right, Cuba has kind of done it to themselves, and they haven't. So the blame is not all on Cuba, but a majority of it is on the Cuban government.
In a nutshell.
Okay? So when you sit here and you tell me, oh no, because America is the problem. No, sorry, America is not the problem.
Nah, that's a cop-out. But again, I find it irritating that you have clowns in this country like BLM, some Democratic politicians, and who sit there and continue to push that nonsense. And it's ridiculous. And I'm sure you have a lot of idiots out there who are eating it up because they're too busy blaming this country for everything. So, honestly, I think the people need to take a field trip over there for about a good 2 months, and then we'll see what they say when they come back.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Oh,
hey, we got you.
Hey, guys, what's going on, man? Enjoying the podcast.
Man. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
First time that I've seen you guys, so.
Oh, awesome. We were supposed to have a couple guests. Frank and I are master, what's the word I'm looking for? Blabbermouths, basically. He was supposed to have some guests come in, and it didn't happen. So we've been winging it here, but we kind of get the gist of the situation. So it's great to have you. Now I see he's gone from the screen.
He's gone.
He's gone?
Something happened.
No.
Hold on, he's there.
There he is.
All right, you're back.
All right. Now we got Cam too.
Oh, we got picture and all now.
Oh, all right. So now we get to see how angry he is. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm not angry. I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt of everything that's happening, and it's like I call it, it's un pueblo that's been hurting and lied to for years, man. So
let's do it this way, Javier, so we can get a better grasp of what you're about to provide. First and foremost,
yep.
You're in where are you from? Where are you right now?
I'm in Homestead, Florida.
Okay, so you're
really close down south to Miami here.
You're down in the dirty south. All right.
I'm in
very close to the Keys. I'm like 10 exits away from the Keys.
All right. And so what is your history or experience with Cuba?
I'll give you a little bit of my story on how I got to the U.S. So in 1992, my dad gets out of Cuba. My dad was working with the Catholic Church in Cuba, and at that time, you had some power in Cuba. He was doing constructions for churches. From that came a brigade, and they were building houses. My dad was getting money in Cuba, and under a communist regime, everybody's the same. You're not supposed to be rich. You're not supposed to be what's called a maceta. I don't know if you guys heard of that maceta word. It means in Cuba that you have money. So if you got money, the government's gonna go after you. So my dad built the streets in my town, built some houses, and los chivatos, which are the snitchers in Cuba, go after him and incarcerate him. Like, who are you to build streets, to do anything? Who the heck
like
are
I
you?
said, Frank. Misery loves company. Go ahead.
So my dad was being innovative, an entrepreneur in his time, and he got blindsided, went to jail for a week. Thank God, my little town. I remember being a kid of 7 years old outside with a sign, "Let my dad go." Gotta take him out of jail. As soon as he gets out, I'm sorry for my voice. I'm under the weather a little bit.
No, it's fine. We appreciate you.
My dad gets out and he says, "Hey, we gotta leave because it's getting bad." And that's during the 90s where it got really bad and we lost the whole connection with Russia and everything dropped. And there was hunger in Cuba. It was a bad. The 90s were bad. That's when the Balsero started, and you guys know it's the second coming. It was the second coming of Mariel,
right?
In another way with boats and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But my wife's parents came in Mariel. She was born here, but she's from Mariel. I came in the 90s. So my dad takes us out. Political asylum. He does political asylum. Gets out of here, and it takes like 5-6 years to get us out. We were hiding in Havana for about a year because my papers, when he submitted it, they took them out and they told my family everybody could leave but Javier. And my mom said, "Heck no, I'm not leaving my son here." And other parents have, but she stuck with us. We were like a year and a half hidden in Havana until they got that sorted out. And I came. I got on an airplane and came over here straight away. And thank God for that. Thank God for that, because it changed every Cuban American. It's changed their life, and you have an opportunity here. So that's pretty much how we made it over here. And it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse for those people.
Did they? Let me ask you a question. I'm going to assume they didn't want you to leave because they realized that you're a young man.
Correct.
And they'll keep you because they know they're going to use you for military purposes later, right?
100%. When you're 15 in Cuba, they go knocking in your door. Hey, we got to take you to what they call the Escuela de Campo, which is really much military. They put a green suit on you, and you go work the fields. And it's pretty much labor, guys. You're cleaning the streets. You're in the fields. Aguataca, what they call in Cuba.
Yeah.
And you don't do much with guns or none of that. It's supposed to be. So the military in Cuba, they make it seem like, hey, we're gonna have an invasion in the future, so we need everybody to be ready, right? It's a good idea, but it's obligated, man. You don't want to go. The only reason you don't have to go is because some people invent some religious stuff, or I've seen people break a leg and an arm on purpose, so they don't take them. Wow. I have cousins that did it, broke a leg, broke an arm, so they won't go.
Wow, that's amazing. So let me ask you a question now. You left. What? How old were you again when you left?
I think we might have lost him 1 minute.
We might have lost him. Hopefully he comes back. But
I'm sure he will.
I want to know. I want to know what some of the things he was told. I kind of want to know about like things that go on in the schools. I've heard stories, and I again just heard stories. So hopefully he can verify some things I've heard about the schools and how things work. But that was, isn't that amazing? And that's like eat the rich. His dad had made some money over there, and what are the rest? The miserables? Yeah, they saw that and they're like, oh hell no, he's making money.
Los chivatones.
He's got to be down here at our level, man. That's the kind of mentality that communism breeds. It's just awful. It's awful. Javier, welcome back.
Hey guys, I don't know what happened. I lost you guys. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right, man. We get that from time to time.
You got Comcast?
Hey, let me ask you a question.
He has Comcast.
Oh, yes. Hey, let me ask you, in school, what was school like in Cuba? And I ask because I've heard stories about how they like start you young with the whole brainwashing about how wonderful Fidel was. And is any of that true?
Yes and no, and it all depends on how your parents raise you. So my parents were not the political, like they were since little. Hey, do not listen to that. You listen to us, and not everybody was like that. A lot of people, they went on it, but my parents had a different mentality. That's why we're here, I guess. And my dad's been very against this in the beginning. His family from the past was never with the Castro regiment, like my grandparents. So the dad in Cuba, they were known, hey, like the anti-communist of a barrio that was my grandpa. And yet the town was so tight that they could never infiltrate. It was still a lot of people, but that's the only way we actually got somebody. Thank God everybody's here. But we were instructed not to follow none of that crap. Even though I love Cuba and I feel like I'm very prejudiced to Cuba. Like, hey, if I had to die for my country, I'll die for my country, but not in that type of way. So it wasn't that brainwashing like that, but they always, when you got older, it was more on, we're going through what we're going through because the United States and the imperialism, the Yankees, all that crap is stopping us from growth. And it's their fault that we're in this situation. No, it's not. It's not our fault that in 1959, when Fidel took over, that he played us all, man. We got played. We got played of this guy that came in there and said, hey, there's going to be votes. It's going to be different. We went from bad to worst because at least before that other government, it was bad, but it wasn't a dictatorship either, you know? He came in with the socialism and all that was so. And socialism, in a way, okay, if it was that, but from socialism to dictatorship, and when you guys, it's yes or yes. There's no, hey, I think differently in Cuba. And that's why the people have been scared so long. And they got in through the times, they softened down. If you go back to the 80s and 90s, the stories on my dad, hey, whoever went against it, you would disappear like that. You were gone. So that's people got scared, man. People were scared. Story with my uncle. My uncle said, hey, I don't want to go to this piece of shit. He escaped a couple times to see his girlfriend, 17 years old. They kicked his ass, put him in a hole in the ground, pour buckets of water for 3 days. Oh, he died. Came to my grandpa and my mom right now that tells me the story, dressed in a uniform in a casket with a military group, like, hey, you know, showing our respects, you know, like, you killed my son. For what? Because he escaped? If he doesn't want to be there, take him out. So it's so, and it's crazy. And another story, like, my grandpa is the father of 11. My mom is the youngest of 11. My grandpa had about 27 moving trucks in Cuba. My grandpa actually just passed away 6 months ago at 102 years old, living all his life in Cuba.
Sorry to hear
And
that.
he had 37 trucks. Yeah, insane how he lived. 37 trucks when Fidel took over. They went to him. They took all his trucks. They left him one. Told him, this is going to be your truck. You can still do it. We're taking over the other ones. And they took over his business. Went from being wealthy in Cuba to broke. Why?
That's
because we needed to use those trucks. We needed to be equal, guys. Everybody's equal. So, you know, that's the equality bullshit. Everybody's going to be super poor as hell.
Equity.
Yeah.
All about equity. So we all got to have and be the same.
It doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And people that had farms and all that, you couldn't kill your own cow. You go to jail for 20 years if you kill your own cow. You know, those farmers that want to, why can't they pick up what they worked for and sell it to the public? You cannot. You got to sell it to the government for scraps, for pennies on the dollar, and then they resell that same stuff in the market for dollars. Like, how hypocritical you have to be, and then blame the embargo. If Cuba right now said, hey, you're free market, everybody go have their own businesses, Cuban people are scrappy, man. They'll make anything. They'll work on something. They'll sell whatever, and you cannot. So it's part of the issue. It's been part of the issue for years.
Like I said, I had mentioned earlier, Frank, the U.S. has tried on various occasions to loosen the embargo, and the response from Cuba was always a hostile one. The worst one was 1981. Carter tried to like loosen the embargo. Fidel said, no, here's a ton of boats with people. I mean, it just doesn't work, and it's not us. So BLM can go pound sand, and any other Democratic politician that's been wrapping their mouth about the U.S. embargo can go pound sand. All right? It's a pile of crap, pile of nonsense. And then, of course, you have people who sit there and get mad at Cubans who vote conservative when the promises that we're hearing from government sound exactly the same as what he said. I'm not even going to say I said it. Javier just told you a bunch of these same promises. We've heard this crap before. And so you can't get mad and start thinking that Cuban Americans and Cubans are irrational for the way they vote. No, we've heard this nonsense. We've heard it. So, you know, I mean, so Javier, let me ask you, Frank and I were kind
Go over
of
there. Go over there.
Frank and I
Okay,
were
be
kind of
quiet.
throwing some some hypotheticals on how the future can change. And my prediction is, I mean, honestly, if the people don't stop, if they just persist, relent, there's going to be so much blood. It's going to be a nasty civil war before Cuba sets itself straight. What do you think?
My bad, guys. I got disconnected a little bit, so I moved away. I was very far from the internet.
No, that's
Um,
okay. All right. Did you catch what I asked you?
I say the last part
I'll say it
again.
again.
My bad. I don't have
I'll
a
say
little
it again.
monkey here with me.
Frank and I were kind of talking.
That is awesome.
I don't know what
Sorry.
he just.
Yeah,
What
we have a
happened,
little.
Frank? Oh.
It's a little more it's a little more monkey that I have here. My bad, guys.
I was
That's all
telling
right.
Frank
But
that as dire as the situation is in Cuba, there is and you kind of confirmed what I said. There is a large chunk of the population that actually likes and or depends on that government system. So for Cuba to actually overturn the dictatorship and straighten out its government, I see no other way forward except a massive civil war. Am I wrong?
As sad as it is, it's true. There's maybe about 35%, 40% that are they're with the government. They're with the government, and let me tell you, even to this day, there's people in here, even in Miami, friends of mine that are communists. That they will, and I have family that are communists, guys. I have family that believe in it. That like what we're doing is we're against. You're not patriotic. You're against your whole. But who gives a shit anymore about that government? And that's what we're trying to say. What has that government any of us for us to have their back? Yeah, I guess you're able to get a little more money. You're able to live a better life in Cuba. It's still a crappy life. Nobody could tell me that they could go and travel if you're in Cuba, that you're doing anything. You cannot. So it's people that are scared of the change because they know they're gonna lose it all. Why? Because everybody knows who those communists are. Everybody knows who those people are. So if it goes and falls down, what happens to them now? They're the ones that are gonna be in a shit show. So that's the issue with it. Those people are more scared than the government himself. What happens to my position? I'm backing you guys up. So some of them are doing it because they're scared. Some of them are doing it because if you don't do it, they're gonna put you in jail. So there's good people, by the way. There's really good people that are
I'm
communists
sure.
because they're communists because of the wrong reasons, because they were brought up like that, and that's all they know. And when you're
Right.
bred and taught from the beginning that this is right, this is wrong, this is right, they don't know. They have no idea that there's another world. They don't know that you could come to the United States and or any other country and do things. They hey, this is the right way. I'm not gonna change. They cannot change. That's why the upbringing is the youth. The youth in Cuba right now is the one that says. That's why the whole thing, patria y muerte. When they tell you in Cuba, patria y muerte means either the government, either Cuba or death. There's no in between. So we're gonna fight to Cuba to the death, even for the wrong. And that's the issue for those people. And most of them my age and older, the 40s, 50s, we were brought up hard on that. You had to get up every morning and sing the national anthem with your thing on here like you're in the military, 4 years old, and say, venceremos. We're gonna make it happen for La Patria, and even if we die.
Wow.
You
The
see,
indoctrination starts early.
This is the message that we wanted to get out exactly. It's exactly what you're saying, Javier. It's there's a lot of misconception, and obviously not with me, not with Carlos, and obviously not in Miami. But we, a lot of our show base is a lot of people that are not in Miami that don't really know the life of a typical Cuban child or Cuban person that's living in the island. So I mean,
Yep.
you're hitting it right on the nail. You're pretty much you're saying the stuff that I've been told for years, and I'm glad I'm glad you're able to come on and
Yeah.
discuss what your life was like in Cuba.
Appreciate it,
know.
man. And there's gonna be
Absolutely.
and there's gonna be a civil war. I'm sorry to say, it's gonna end up in that. And
There's going to have
and
to
the
be.
government is gonna use that. That's what they're using it. That's why Diaz Canel came out and say, all the revolutionary people to the streets, fight for your country. He's using that. That guy's very smart, man. He's very smart. He's not gonna push the army. He's not gonna do none of that. He's gonna let all the communists fight first, and then when that gets brought down, that's when they're gonna get involved either way. But that's gonna be the last line of defense. That's what a lot of people don't know. So like tomorrow's gonna be in La Habana, a huge communist walk. Thousands of them are gonna go and protest. You're gonna see tomorrow in the news about the U.S. lifting the embargo. So that's the big fight that they're gonna fight tomorrow, and that's the issue. You're gonna see tomorrow people screaming "Viva Fidel, Viva Comunismo," all that crap, and they're gonna fight for the U.S. to open that embargo. And let me tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if they do open the embargo. I hope they don't, but what I've seen before and what we have now, and I don't think maybe if it was a Republican, and not to get into Democrat, Republican, none of that, but I think the Democratic Party is going to do it. It's going to wash their hands. Hey, this is what they need. Let's go do it. And it's not going to work. Well, it's going to work for the party, for the government.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they steal everything, man. You cannot send a container of food to Cuba. It's not going to get to a pueblo. It's never going to get to a pueblo. It's always going to get stolen and flipped and sold and God knows what, given to whoever is with them, which is a sad story, but it's true.
Yeah. Whoever did a solid for the party. Here you go.
Steven in the comments, he's saying, and he has a point.
Yeah.
He's saying that the communists that are here in Miami, right, that aren't working, they're still collecting unemployment. They go back to the island and they spend the money over there. They give it over there. And I tell you, I mean, I saw it. I had my dad has a friend of his, or a guy. I'm not even gonna say a friend, because just a guy that he knows.
Yeah.
That would literally, he came here. He will go back to Cuba, blow his money, come back, make money, go back over there, blow his money again.
It's a sad truth. And we Cubans here in Miami, we are the one that have been feeding this government as bad as it is. What happens in Cuba is more our fault. The people that left it, as the people are not in, it's not their fault. They were brought up, raised. There's nobody here right now from when Fidel took over. It's all new age. All those old people are home doing nothing.
Right.
But our generation is the one that, by not doing wrong, but still taking care of our families, we take money to Cuba. My family, I have family that goes to Cuba 10 times a year and takes hundreds and hundreds of things. Takes toothbrushes by the quantity. Takes whatever they need. Why? Because my family here, and my mother-in-law, my uncle, they will take 30 soaps, 30 toothbrushes. Here you go, abuelita, sell them, do whatever you get some money. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna fight them? No, we're taking care of our family in whatever way we can. But at the end, that money generates and goes back to the government, and they use it against them.
Javier, let me ask you a question. And again, I don't want to make anything political either, but I think this is a fair question. Some people in America have been told that the healthcare system in Cuba is awesome, that the education is awesome, and the services they provide. Frank, part of what you read in that BLM message stated some of this crap. So I just want some kind of verification from Javier on, is there any truth to that? I think I'm not trying to prove a point, or I kind of just want to hear what's the reality.
The school systems in Cuba are amazing. With the low quantity of anything, you have a textbook for the whole year. You have 2 pencils that you will shop, and they will be this small, and you still use them because they don't have anything else. But just to let you know, when I was in 4th grade and I got here to the U.S. and I was in 6th grade, I was already doing 9th, 10th grade math in Cuba. Okay. Very smart, very, very advanced, and all that. Very good. If you want to, and that's that part. It is good. It's really good. That it doesn't take you anywhere at the end of the day, but it is good. The second part of that is you're talking about
healthcare.
The healthcare system in Cuba is awful, by the way. What we do have is good doctors. We have people that are good nurses. Why? Because if you're a doctor or a nurse in Cuba, you're doing it because you love it. You're not doing it because of the pay. You're not doing it because you're going to be, because if you're driving a taxi in Cuba, you make 10 times more than a doctor.
Oh,
If you sell mangoes in the street, you're making more than a doctor. If
are
you
you serious?
the food that the stuff that we take to Cuba for our family to sell and to make some money off, they're making more than a doctor. A doctor in Cuba must bake, I say, maybe $5 a week in Cuban money, some crazy number like that, something ridiculously low. And the doctors and the healthcare system in Cuba is a game. It's a game. Why? Why? There's no doctors in Cuba right now. People are dying everywhere, especially in Matanzas. All that stuff that came out with COVID. Why is it happening in Cuba? Because our doctors are in Venezuela, our doctors are in Mexico, our doctors are everywhere. And you know who gets paid for them to be over there? The Cuban government. And the Cuban government pays them a very low. They sell you, hey, you be a doctor, you can leave the country. You can serve your country and take care of people. And it's true. That part is true. They take care of people in other countries. We come to Angola, to Africa. There's still doctors all over the world in Cuba doing good things, good people. Nothing to do with the government communists, good doctors. But they're riding a bike to work. A bicycle is broken down. And when you go to I have videos and stuff. I wish I could share them here. I have them of the hospitals in Cuba right now, man. The mattresses are from 1960s. The hospitals are breaking down. They have no electricity. Where is the money that Cuba's getting? The little money that they're doing, where is it? In the military. There's no money going to anything else. Military. Nothing else.
I saw a picture of the president just recently. He was having some kind of meeting, with people in the room and a table full of food. It's like, wow. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy has to eat, but
yeah, he has to eat. But you don't have to show up. You don't have to show that for other people.
Oh man!
For the people there that are muriéndose de hambre, and you're showing that. Go eat that in a room back there, hidden somewhere.
Yeah, no, he had all that stuff right in front of him. I'm like, coño, qué descaro. Wow.
And it's not that the people. I'll tell you, people, and people exaggerate when people in Cuba are dying of hunger. It's not true.
Oh, good. This is the stuff we need to hear.
We're not dying of hunger, but it shouldn't take you 5 hours with a little cartel or a little book that you get that tells you get only 5 eggs a month, a quarter of oil, 2 pieces of bread, and that's it. There's nothing else, and some sugar, some brown sugar. And it shouldn't take you 5. The rationing. It shouldn't take you 5 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, for you to get that once a month. And everybody in the Cuban people will find their way. At the end of the day, you have all these communist people that steal from the government. Because I remember we had no chicken for a while in Cuba, and my dad spoke to some government guy and found some chicken. That guy came in a truck and threw about 15 live chickens in my backyard. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And that came from the government. So the own government people are crooked. Not crooked, but they're going to make money off. It's all a game, man. All those people that work for the government are stealing from the government to bring the stuff back to the. But it's all like that. Like instead, here we go to work. Hey, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna make our day? In Cuba is what are we gonna eat today? Who has the hookup for some food today, and where we're gonna buy it? And those people are stealing from the government. So it's a tough game, man. It's a tough way to live, and it sucks. It sucks. There's nothing. There's no Home Depot in Cuba. There's no car shop. There's nothing. If your fridge breaks down, good luck in asking for money from someone in the U.S. so you could buy a new one or fix it, because you will have nothing.
And I'm glad this is coming out, because I mean, I know we hear things, and in America, I'm sure you've already figured out that all our news channels tend to exaggerate. They do one thing well, and that's cause panic.
Yep.
And so everything they say is an exaggerative, a superlative, some kind of locura. And I'm like, all right, are there hungry people in Cuba? Yes, I'm sure. But I want someone who's had boots there to kind of tell me, what exactly are we looking at? What exactly is going on?
They're hungry, but they're not. It's hard to get food, and it's been hard. And that's why they're doing it, because the last 5-10 years has been tougher than it was before. And people are tired of living like that, man. You cannot go and buy a piece of bread, even if you have the money.
Why is it getting tougher though? I mean, the embargo's been the embargo, whether
The
it be
embargo's
Trump,
been the
Obama,
embargo.
Lucid Titan. We're not the sole purpose for anybody's survival in this world. So it ain't us. But I know Cuba's been able to trade with other countries. So what exactly is making it worse? Do you have any idea?
COVID made it worse.
COVID made it worse.
Made it worse, and also Cuba is not known to pay. The issue with Cuban is they owe a lot of money to the people that they do business with.
This is what I was telling you, Frank, earlier, that a lot of countries do trade with Cuba and they're not profiting because Cuba's not paying.
Cuba has. You could Google it. I Googled it the other day. I think Cuba is like 512 million in debt with some countries, especially Mexico. There's a lot of countries. You could Google it. I was Googling it the other day. Countries that Cuba makes like partners with and food and all that stuff. And Cuba itself, it's so controlled, and they have a shitty system. There's no systems. So let's say if Cuba rations to this town 50 chickens, whatever, bread, whenever it gets there, since the people that they have there are corrupted, they steal 80% of it, do business on the side, and the rest, whatever's rest, is for El Pueblo. And that's the issue. That is corrupted people after corruption after corruption after corruption. That the people that need it are never gonna get it. That's why I say the embargo. You could send 15 ships right now to Cuba of food nonstop every day, and people are still gonna be hungry, and people are still not gonna get it because it's gonna touch too many hands of people that are very corrupt, and it's gonna be for them, and they're gonna make a business out of whatever they touch their hands. That it's not gonna get to the people that deserves it. That's why why doesn't Cuba right now tell the Red Cross or whoever or USA, we're struggling, come and give the vaccines yourself. We're just gonna step back and you do it. They're gonna say, hell no, we're taking charge, baby. Why doesn't Mexico or anybody say, yeah, we're gonna get 15 ships and we're gonna put it outside in Malegon, and the people are gonna walk in and we're gonna give them their bag of food without the government touching it? They're gonna say, hell no. They're gonna want to have charge of it. Why? Because they're gonna take it and they're gonna do whatever they think is necessary with it. They're not gonna they get two shits about their people. They don't care. They don't care, and that's why the people are over it, man. People are gonna die. People are willing to die right now. They don't care anymore.
That's what it's gonna have to come down to. I'm wondering if the people, like you said, the youth, because the older people are kind of set in their ways, and is the youth ready to die? Because that's what's gonna have to happen. Again, I've said this a few times already. The fact that the populace has no weapons means they got to go in bare knuckles, sticks, rocks. That's all you got. Are you ready to face the bullets to take it over? Because that's what's going to happen. I hate to say I hope they do, because
they are, and it's not going to be good.
No, it's not. And it's easy for me to say that behind this cute little microphone here. And so I hate even talking like that, but I don't see another way. I don't see another way. The U.S. isn't going to come in and save Cuba. I don't think they should, as much as I would want them to.
They shouldn't. And I'm Cuban, and I want them to, by the way. I do want them to.
I would love for that.
That's going to cause an effect of more issues that they don't want to deal with. And I understand.
Right.
And Cuba's problem is Cuban. I'm a Cuban, and I love my country. And I love this country. I'm more probably American than Cuban at this moment. But I tell you, they're not going to do it. And if they do it, it has to be in a very strategic, smart way, which I don't know if they're going to do it. But Cuba does need some help, man, because those people, and the issue is that a lot of the networks here and a lot of the smaller, influencers and all that stuff, they're telling people, go to the streets, fight. We got your back. We're going to make something happen in the U.S. And we're trying from the best. I know all the people that are fighting to help Cuba. They have their best interest. But it might be a slap in the face when we're not there to show up and be there for them, and that's what I'm scared of. That's what I'm scared of.
I hate to say it this way, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's nice for all of us here to be in the streets and egging them on and like, go fight, fight. We support you, but we aren't the ones that are going to face those bullets. That's them. And it has to happen. I just don't see any other option for Cuba. There's got to be a civil war, and they got to take that government head on. Ugh, wow.
I'll tell you one thing that is going to make a difference is that the people are done being scared.
That's
People are
all.
done.
Right.
And
Good.
that's just that point right there is making them free in a way.
Yes.
And it sucks to say it, but that mentality is changing. People were scared. You in Cuba putting a song of Willie Chirino or putting whatever. Me, I was in 1990s and we were in my house. My dad would blast Willie Chirino. And I remember with the sticks in the door, hey, what are you listening to that music here? Turn that shit off.
You can't
If
play
you don't
it.
turn it off, we're gonna turn it off. I've been there. Nobody could tell me that this is a joke. By the way, now in Cuba, you put a song of Gente de Zona, this Patria Vida song, you're going to jail. There's a video that just showed. I saw a video
Yeah,
the
I
other day.
heard about that.
I don't know if you guys saw it too.
I heard
So
about it.
it's control to the maximum what you could do, and people are done with it. If people are done with it, we just need more. They need more people to come out, and they need some type of. It sucks to say it because you don't want some leader to come out that God knows what their intentions are, but they need someone to actually have a game plan and do something because right now they're running wild.
That's
It's
another problem.
You know what?
Yeah.
I was
That if you take the
actually-
government down, then you're going to have 5 or 6 people talking about how they're the next great thing, and you don't know what you're
Well,
getting into.
the problem I see, and it's funny because I was talking to my neighbors right before the show started, and this conversation came up, and we're like, okay, the Cuban people are going to fight. Who's going to take the lead?
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good question.
So
Who's
what
going to take
happens
the lead?
is the lead has to come from someone in the government to turn.
that flips.
Okay? If
Yeah.
that person in the government doesn't turn, you're not going to get nowhere. And even then, let's say that person says, yeah, I'm turning. They have no choice but to put your trust in this individual, and where, okay, he turns. And if he doesn't turn, you know what? The fighting's been for nothing.
The fight was for
there's-
nothing.
You know,
Yeah.
there's like catch-22 there.
Yeah. Like even Venezuela has that guy. I
Yeah.
think Trump had him at one of the State of the Unions. I forgot his name, but Venezuela, at least they have that figurehead of opposition. Yeah, Cuba's just what they do have is a mad populace ready to ready to fight. But that's the next important thing, because then, oh wow, what a scenario! You'll have a few people who might say that they're the next big thing. People start lining up behind that person, and now you have more groups. Oh, this just became worse in my head.
Yeah, it's not
Wow.
gonna be it's not gonna be easy, and I'll tell you,
Wow.
it sucks. A lot of people in Cuba, whoever was someone that was ready to take on that lead and that role and be someone, it sucks to say, they're not in Cuba anymore. They're here in Miami or somewhere else.
Here. They're
They
probably
left.
here, yeah.
If you had any brains, any contacts, any help, you left. And that's the issue. A lot of the good people are here in Miami. They're the mayors. They're the Florida, Senate guys. They're here.
And
So,
they're cozy as hell, so they're not going back.
You're not gonna tell. Hey, want to tell Marco Rubio go be the president of Cuba? Because he talks amazing.
He does.
I love what he says, but he's not gonna go in Cuba and do anything. And maybe it's a dream. It's a dream to think that, but that's the issue with Cuba. Well, who's gonna take over? Who's gonna change? And the military. Cuba is in 3 phases, man. It's the military, it's the government, and then you have the guy that pays all the bills, the guy that controls the money in Cuba. Those are 3 different people, by the way,
And then you got to deal with that 30 or 40% that still support the government.
which are gonna flip at the end. They're gonna flip whenever it switches. They're gonna flip, but really in here, they're not gonna flip. And it's gonna be a shit show for years. We may not see it in our lifetime. The change, the fully change. To tell you the truth, I don't see it. I think things are gonna open up and get better, and we might be able to travel to Cuba easier, and the people might be able to open up their own businesses and have that growth a little bit, but full change into a democratic democracy. It might take another 30 years. It sucks to say, but it's gonna be tough. You got to change people's mindsets. You got to change the way of their living. People are not used to having a 9 to 5 in Cuba. People are not used to anything. People don't even know how to have a bank account in Cuba. What bank account? People don't even know how to use a credit card in Cuba. So just little things. They're not used to none of that. They're not used to anything that has the way of, like, hey, this is gonna be the steps. It's starting from scratch, like if you were a kid growing up and learning how to save money, how to buy a property, it's that mentality for the whole country. how to better themselves.
I mean, I know Cuba had an established government system prior to Batista.
Yep.
And they could let me not say easily, but they at least have, they have a base. It exists. It's been there. It was just taken away because Batista became an idiot, and then Fidel came in and said, "I'm going to be your hero," and screwed everybody over.
But it's no longer a base, so.
Say that again.
At this point, it's not there. I mean, you're
I
talking
think it's
about,
obsolete. Yeah.
No,
right. You're talking about.
They can build from that, though.
But they could build
from
from that. They could build from that.
Right, they can, but
they've been democratic before, so it's not like Cuba doesn't know what democracy is. They just haven't touched it in 60 plus years.
Yeah, but this is what happens, Carlos. When you're looking at mainly our parents probably saw the democracy.
Yeah.
If that. Okay.
Barely.
Yeah.
Right.
My dad's 55, 56.
My mom
saw it.
79. She remembers the democratic Cuba, and she remembers when the shit show began. So
all right, but now, but what happens is this: you give it another 10, 15 years. That generation that saw the democracy is gone.
No. I get that, Frank. But I mean, there's documents, there's things that people can pull from to restructure.
Okay.
It's not like the Cubans have been barbarians until yesterday. So
they have structure. They have some structure. It's just going to take the right group of people
from it. But yeah, there's so many layers, and he brought out more than even I was thinking. I was just thinking about the government and then the loyalists. He broke it down even further. That's a massive hill to climb to fix Cuba, and nobody can really intervene as much as we would want them to.
I don't think so. I think the best way, and it's a dream, it will be for the U.S. to do a full takeover and make it into another state. But they don't want the heat. They don't want that heat. They don't want that. You won't gain. You won't gain. It's a loss for years.
If we go in there, two things happen. Either A, we save Cuba, and then the rest of the world wants to be saved, or B, other nations will come in to fight us for Cuba, like Vietnam and all the other times we've been through this nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Look, I said this to my neighbors earlier. I go, the only way that I would see the U.S. get involved is if another country gets involved with Cuba and tries to take over Cuba, or tries to do something to take them out of power. Yeah. I think that's the only way.
But then you set the expectation, Frank. If you're going to do Cuba, go do Venezuela. You're done with Venezuela, go here. That's going to be the expectation.
True. And they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. I don't think with this, not even to say the president, because at the end of the day, but the way things are right now, I don't think it's not in their best interest to do none of that.
No,
because they don't win. We really don't win. The Cuban people win, and that's what should matter. But I don't think at the end of the day, everything in his life is kind of a business, right? That business mentality, and I don't think they're gonna say the right things. I don't think they're gonna at the end of the day back us up on it. Unfortunately,
no,
we cannot blame them.
Yeah,
I'm not even mad about it. I cannot be mad about it, even though I scream and say, "Hey, do an intervention. Let's do what we can."
Right.
It's we're not done, but Cuba needs the help, some type of help.
Yeah.
And they're getting help right now from the wrong side, because a lot of governments are with Cuba, unfortunately, with the government. Especially Venezuela. There's 150 or 250 troops of Venezuela in Cuba already. So I don't know if you guys knew that, but
didn't know.
So there's already about 250 of them, and all the leaders in Cuba are in Venezuela right now. Not the president,
really?
but Raúl Castro is in Venezuela with all his family. They already took him out of there.
I thought he stepped down. What's the story? I mean, Castro never really steps down, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I thought technically he was just like, all right, we're done. I'm going to hand it over to Miguel.
Yeah, Miguel's a puppet, man. Miguel's a puppet of so the real president of Cuba is Raúl Castro's
Still Raúl?
His son is the one that holds the money and makes the decisions in Cuba. I don't remember his name right now. But he's the one that it plays, and they put Díaz-Canel there because Díaz-Canel is someone that was brought up with that mentality, and they know he's not going to turn. That guy's not going to turn. That guy's going to lose him. The only way that guy's getting out is dead. I'm telling you right now. And You don't want to wish anybody a death, but that's what may be needed for him to get out. But the Castro still own Cuba,
Yeah.
and Raúl Castro is an old guy that really he's out of it. But his sons are there, and they're strong, man. Those people are not. They're tough cookies. They deal with the money. They can control the money. Then those three layers that I told you, military, financially, and the government is three layers, three different people in Cuba, because Diaz-Canel does not run the military. I don't know if you guys knew that. He does not run the military. It's some other guy that goes directly with Raúl and with the Castros on what they're going to do military-wise. That's why you haven't seen the military out there. The military is not going to get out there into the socialists and all those people like stop fighting or whatever happens, then they'll intervene. It's going to be the last step, unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I hate to say it's a good strategy, but it is. If you're
they're smart. They're smart.
I understand.
As dumb as they want to sound, and the things that they say, they're a smart group, man. And they messed up. He messed up because he should have never gone after. He actually woke up the people in Cuba more than they should have when he came on the first day and say, "We will not let our beliefs come down. We will not. The Cuban government will not go down. We will fight you hand to hand." He should have never said that. He should have told people, "Hey, let's talk. Let's figure what the communists usually do."
Yeah,
they mess with you. It's all mind game. And he went he got touched. He got scared. He got touched and said that and that. And he said, "Oh well, yeah." And then people really got out more in the streets and said, "We're gonna fight more." Because if you tell me you need to shut up and would come at me with all you got, I'm gonna come at you with all I got.
Right.
And that's what he did. He gave a little bit of a light there for us, Good. But
all right, good. Well, Frank, I think Javier has painted a great picture for us and for our audience. I
appreciate you guys having me, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, listen,
coming on. I mean, there's not much else we need to say tonight. We've covered Cuba. We've covered the issues. We've covered our thoughts. You've provided a great, clear picture of life, the government, what people really need to truly understand about what is Cuba. And you know what? Take this information, everybody, going forward, as you hear about these protests and you see how they escalate or not. And for some of you out there, and I'm not speaking to my audience, but there are, for the idiots in this country who don't appreciate the freedom you have, honestly, stuff it. All right.
Yep.
Get with the program and understand where you're living. Okay.
There's people in Cuba with the American flag walking the streets.
That's what I was telling Frank. I said
that's
you've got places in this world where they protest freedom and they wave our flag, and then you have idiots in America that are like, "We're oppressed. We're the most oppressed nation." Una patada por el culo, if I could.
Correct. Bro, we complain so much in this country, not knowing that we have it all, man. We have it all, bro. We could go to work, have vacations, chill, have money in the bank, even if it's not that much. We live like rich people, man.
Nah,
look at what we're doing now this night, talking about this.
Talking about it, bro. No one's gonna knock on the door after this conversation. Hey, oye, Javier, estás hablando bien.
Exactly. And people over, people over.
Hey,
people don't know what they have. People don't know what they have.
Hey, Javier, quick question off the topic. And everything. How was it you found our show? Have you been following our show, or you just were searching something and you found?
So I've been following. What's this guy's name? Jesus. Un paparazzi cubano que se llama Line. That he had. Line paparazzi cubano. Maybe you guys know about him or not.
Yeah.
He has like 50,000, 60,000 viewers at a time.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing this last week, just to go off base with him, I've been searching for Cuba and YouTube live and seeing what people are talking about, and mostly to see, believe it or not, what a lot of communist people instilled in Miami and Cuba. They have shows like this from both sides, and they're talking a lot of crap, and a lot of people are still confusing people. So I clicked on a couple of shows. Your shows came right up when I searched that, and I was listening into what you guys had to say, and I like what you guys said. So
that's awesome.
So I wanted to share, and I shared a couple of things.
No, definitely. I mean, we're on Wednesdays and Friday nights. We're on Facebook under Speaking It Real Podcast, and also on YouTube under Speaking It Real Podcast.
I'm off on Wednesday, so I'll be following you guys, and if you guys ever want to bring me back on whatever, I'm down.
No, I'm game.
No, it's just Frank and I on Fridays, and we like to talk about the topic.
What's going on. Yep. What's going on?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
topic.
I mean, obviously, this week was the Cuba stuff.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
I
texted
think what
Frank on
was
Monday
it?
and said, "Yes, we're gonna have to talk about Cuba, huh?" And
You
like,
know, and we,
You guys been
and
talking
we
about Cuba for a while.
yeah. I mean, look. I mean, what was it? I think maybe a month or two ago, or 3 months. No, maybe that's about a month or two ago when the stuff was going on in Colombia. We spoke about Colombia.
oh, that's right, Colombia.
We
Mhm.
had a Colombian guy that came in, started talking about it. You know,
Nice.
so we go all over the place.
That's
You
good,
know, and
man.
I mean, it's just a little backstory on how we started. I went on a rampage on Facebook. I mean, I've known Carlos since we've been 12 years old.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
So, you know,
Where you guys from? You guys are not from Miami, right? From
I'm
I lived in
oh,
Miami for 30 years before I finally said, "Yeah, basta."
Tagao. Tagao.
Oh,
I mean, I
you
live
know,
in Miami.
you
I
Oh,
still
live
you
in
live.
do?
Miami.
I
I
still
live
live.
very simple. I lived, if you know where Serena Lakes is, that's where I live. Right by the zoo.
No, I'm on exit 11, man. We're really close by. I live in Color Bay. I live in
Yeah,
Color
All
Bay.
right.
So
right.
All
But
right.
you
All
know,
right.
I used to work at Campbell Drive, middle. So you know where if you're in Homestead, you know where that is. That's right off the turnpike.
I have my store. I have a store there on exit 2.
There you go.
A
All
cell
right.
phone store. So right on exit 2. That's what I do.
What's the name of your
So
store?
it's a T-Mobile store.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's a
perfect.
T-Mobile.
I
So
gotta go
if
visit
you
you.
guys need anything ever there, man, I'm the
We're
guy
gonna
there for you.
kick your door down tomorrow.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, we need these telephones. Dale.
Javier, thank you. Follow us, you know,
Thank
and
you. Appreciate you guys. I will follow
we'll
you
come
guys.
back.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
bro. Yeah,
And
no,
thank you
Thank
definitely.
you.
Talk to Frank during the week. We'll have you back next Friday if you can, whenever.
for sure. Thank you for the
Okay.
support for Cuba too, man. It means a lot.
No, thank you, man.
Thank
All
you
right, have
guys.
a
Absolutely.
good one, man.
Take care,
Have a
man.
good
Bye.
one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Well, Frank, I have to get to the family, but
Wow.
amazing, bro.
Listen,
Amazing.
listen. I'm gonna tell you like this. Even though I got sold out by these other three individuals,
What did I tell you? What did I tell you when the show started? I told you.
okay. I don't even know how to close this show. I know that I'm not sure if my friend John is still watching. I mean, you want to come on right quick, Carlos? I'll tell you go home. It don't matter because I still got a bone to pick with you, John. But
What's
you know
this
what?
bone about? Before you go, I guess just kind of fill me in on the bone.
Oh, dude, he put You will probably agree with John,
I will
but
probably agree with John.
he put You know what? Hold on. Let me come over here a second. I'm gonna share my screen in a minute. Let me find that page. And you know what? We'll touch up on it real quick. You know what? It's a pretty good way to close the show off. You know, not talking about Cuba, but hey, look, again, this guy Javier. I mean, he popped up out of nowhere.
That's
You
great.
know,
That's great. And I predicted that. I said, watch, halfway through the show, someone's going to end up coming on the show like they always do. And they'll eat it. I told you.
you know what? It's the triggers I put.
Hey,
It's the
you're the master,
triggers, my
bro.
friend.
No doubt about it. You are
So,
El Maestro.
so my friend John. Let me.
All right.
Computer's going a little slow. All right. It's funny enough. Hold on. Let me share this screen here.
I'm already laughing in anticipation.
I'm sure that. Oh, look at this. I mean, that's John's page.
Excuse
All
me.
right. So this is his page. Come on. Come on. That's his page. Go figure. So he put this. My name is Michael Leroy Bird. I murdered an unarmed white woman in the Capitol building, and the DOJ dropped the case.
Oh, so that's the cop that shot. What's her name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is the
So
first time we even see this. Okay.
yeah. So this is what it was about. His case was dropped. I said that the lady's a terrorist. I don't care. You know what? If you're gonna break into the Capitol building, okay. When you read the DOJ report, which I don't have in front of me,
Okay.
it clearly states that she was in the wrong. Okay,
She was in the wrong.
She was in the Capitol building with all these rioters.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
so the cops shot her.
But why not
I
shoot
called her-
everybody?
Dude, I can't.
I mean,
answer
by your premise, that cop should have blown everybody's head off. Then why didn't he do it?
Maybe he gave several shots and he only hit one. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't read that part of the report. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, so that was my bone to pick with him. But I'm gonna leave that for whenever he decides to come back.
Oh man, I hope I'm ringside for that one. Maybe I
Again,
can finally sneak on next Wednesday. I'll try to make an appearance. I don't know what you're going to be doing. We'll see. But
I'll be here. But
just to wrap this up appropriately, what a show, man! This was good. I'm glad we talked about it at the beginning. I'm like, dude, there's nothing else to talk about. It's Cuba, and Javier straight up came from the sky, like, hey, because we had other guests in mind. We even had, I think, Frank, you said someone from Cuba that was supposed to come on, and like Javier said, they probably knocked on the door. So, this was great, man. Wrap it up, bro.
Hey, look, guys, like us, don't like us. We always bring it. We always speak it, whether you agree with it or whether you don't agree with it. All right? Whether you agree with Cuba, whether you don't agree with Cuba. Doesn't matter. Because Carlos and I bring it and speak it real. We'll catch you Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Same back
I will
channel,
see you
same
next
back
Friday.
time.
I hope to make a guest appearance, but definitely next Friday. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.
This has been